Here we go. It's an exciting one. ELMIMO versus ZEFA. We've got our first match coming out very shortly. Pre-bans are going to be coming out as well.
Yeah, so ELMIMO has opted for first pick here. I think he probably is going to value Nana. So he's going to take out the Gianna, which makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of control that your opponent gets when they have a Gianna. And then, of course, the Ragdoll makes a lot of sense because Ragdoll disrupts a lot of control and a lot of damage off the bat. Both pre-bans make sense. I could see either a Masho or Nana or some sort of surviving unit coming up from ELMIMO, and that's exactly what we see off the bat.
Yeah, there's that Nana first pick coming out of ELMIMO. ZEFA so quick to locking in the Masha and an early Riley pick again.
ZEFA's definitely drafted this before on paper because those are two very quick drafts here. I think the Riley makes a lot of sense, but definitely sounds like he wants to bruise this one out. I think we're going to see a Cadiz use here. If he's going to play this way and draft the Riley, he has to bring in Cadiz. I really like that Miles pick from ELMIMO because that's a lot of damage coming out, and I've played against that Miles a lot. That thing hits really hard, so ZEFA's going to need to think about banning that unit, and that's probably what he does with his next two picks.
Super water heavy for ELMIMO, but again, super wind heavy for ZEFA. Let's see if ELMIMO is going to see that and draft accordingly. And it looks like he's going to hover over in a Chroma. Does he choose to lock that in?
Coming up, he's going to draft. He's got to bring a Molly with this because he's going to have two high damage dealing units and he's going to need to survive. Doesn't go with the Molly here, not as defensive as I thought. Goes with a Leica, super high damage, but makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of AoE wind coming out from ZEFA's side.
Very interesting to see a Water Monkey King coming from ZEFA. ZEFA signaling that he's going to be letting that Leica through with that Water Monkey King draft.
I really like that Water Monkey King because that Water Monkey King is going to do a lot of damage into ELMIMO's team here, and additionals do a lot into a Chroma. But ELMIMO might not be afraid of that as his units are tanky enough, but because of that Leica and that vulnerability he's brought in with that, he kind of is forced to ban out that Water Monkey King. And of course, the Wusa ban is interesting given the fact that ZEFA has a Changpeng on the field already.
Yep, and a strip reset coming out of the form of Cigar. But here we go! We've got our first match between ZEFA and ELMIMO. This is a big one. It's a highly anticipated match with Miles kicking it off against this Changpeng.
Yeah, so ZEFA, again, bringing in a lot of aggression here. Gonna need to be able to take a huge advantage in turn one. That Chroma is gonna need to do work with its passive. ELMIMO is gonna need to hang on and then eventually find a way to snipe out a unit of ZEFA's.
Ooh, ZEFA trying to go after this Leica. Leica did take that very, very well. Got the Silence sitting on top of the Changpeng. Leica trying to pummel the damage on top of the Changpeng. Changpeng being the unit that he really wants to focus down here. It's not looking very good for the Changpeng, though.
Not looking very good. That's an absolutely massive proc that the Miles had earlier, allowing him to do that extra bit of damage and might take that Changpeng out. But at the same time, that Miles is taunted up and does have a defense break, so there is a vulnerability on ELMIMO's side. Let's see if ZEFA is going to be able to capitalize.
Also confirming that that was a Despair Changpeng. Wasn't expecting to see that here. Trying to take advantage of defense break, sitting on top of that Miles as well.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming out from this Leica over time. And again, the huge, massive proc coming out from Miles there. Takes out the Changpeng and adds a stack to Nana.
That's a really big win right there. He's able to violent proc out and take out the Changpeng. Two orbs being extremely important. Defense break sitting on top of the Miles. Miles is going to be shaking that defense break. Looking for the strip zone on top of the Masha. Gets it! We're going to see some damage coming out from the Chroma. Leica looking to take advantage of this Masha.
Wow, and in this situation, ELMIMO has two stacks on the Nana, has a protection from the Chroma. It's not much ZEFA can do. ZEFA's going to need to proc a lot. It's not over yet. ZEFA does need a lot of procs, but he's eating a lot of damage and needs to keep this Masha in its current form.
He's trying to dismount that Masha. Once the Masha is dismounted, it's definitely not going to be looking good for ZEFA. There goes one of the orbs. The next digital turn coming out of Cigar here. We're going to see the poke damage go out onto the Miles. Is the Masha going to be enough to drop this Miles here?
Yeah, no proc from the Riley means that he's not going to be able to keep this Masha up. This Masha is going to be dismounted, so no ability to really add a ton of burst. And there we go. That's probably the end of the game there.
That is the end of the game there. ELMIMO taking round one away from ZEFA.
Wow, what a back and forth match there, but it really comes down to those two procs from that Miles. When you add in a Riley like that, you're calculating exactly how much survivability you need. That Miles, those two procs probably equal about 60% of that Changpeng's HP there over time between those two procs. So Zafarias was not able to withstand that and consequently lost units over time.
Yeah, most definitely. Masha was trying to do all she could. You could see him when he was swapping over onto the Leica, not able to get any big damage on top of the Leica. Leica was a massive threat on that field still.
Yeah, Leica did a lot of damage. I do think that Leica could have been any other damage-dealing unit, but I think that was fine as well. Jaeger would probably be similar, but he probably took the Leica for the elemental advantage there. But either way, ELMIMO with the 2 great procs are allowing him to secure that match.
Wow, the Cadiz getting the pre-ban in the second match with the Leo pre-ban from ZEFA.
Interesting choice of the Leo pre-ban. Just does not want to deal with Leo Rag and get into a super heavy bruiser match is what he's telling me here. And the Cadiz pre-ban makes sense on ELMIMO. As I've called out, Cadiz is really good in ELMIMO's comp here. So good pre-bans coming out, and these drafts so far make a lot of sense. Looks like ZEFA wants to mix in some sort of bruiser, some sort of damage with survivability, which is why he's taking Nana with this mix of units.
Yeah, most definitely. Gianna and Shizuka making a showing here for ZEFA. And again, a Chroma Juno coming out for ELMIMO.
This is one of the best rune Junos I've ever faced on the ladder. It probably does about 2.5 damage per hit here. So this Juno, also a very good pick into Shizuka here, and a very decent pick into Gianna, is going to do a lot of damage. So ZEFA's going to need to think about banning that unit. But at the same time, there's just so much damage and survivability coming out from the Ragdoll, from the Achroma. ZEFA needs another piece of damage if he's going to want to be able to take this. So he goes with the Tessarian, which makes a lot of sense.
Definitely makes a lot of sense indeed. I do like the Tessarian here. We know this unit can be extremely tanky and deal lots of damage as well. ELMIMO notices that he's got this last pick he's going to be locking in after seeing a Tessarian and Miles.
ZEFA's almost needs to ban out the Riley right now, because that Riley's going to provide a lot of immunity and make it very awkward. It's either Riley or the Achroma when you bring in a Tessarian like that. ELMIMO is definitely banning out the Tessarian when he lays down a Molly last, so I think we're going to see a Tessarian ban and probably a Riley or an Achroma are going to be the counter bans. Goes with the Juno ban and the Shizuka ban. Interesting choices here by these two players.
Yep, Juno and Shizuka getting banned out here. HP lead for ELMIMO. Defense lead for ZEFA. We've got a tanky one ahead of us, guys. These two are looking for the long haul in this one as we get into our round 2 between ZEFA and ELMIMO.
Definitely looking for the long haul here, but that Riley and that Molly together are going to provide so much protection. I don't know if ZEFA's going to have enough burst to get through. His Tessarian's going to need a proc, but all it takes is one proc for him to take this.
Riley's going to be cleansing. Oh, not cleansing that bomb. Does get the additional turn, though, so he can cleanse the bomb if he wants to.
Yeah, now ZEFA is going to be eating a lot of damage. Does have a protection from the Nana and from that orb there, but again, ZEFA's waiting for that one proc to be able to come in and take out a unit of ELMIMO's.
Ooh, I'm sorry, the Oblivion being applied to the Molly here, and you can see ELMIMO's prioritizing the Gianna, trying to take this unit out first.
Yeah, Gianna's tend to be very squishy here. This is ELMIMO's chance of victory. He's going to take out one unit first and then move around here. ZEFA is counting on a proc at some point with the defense break from the Tessarian to be able to capitalize. And so that's what he's looking for. Let's see if he's going to be able to get this.
Yeah, nice little despair stun coming out of the Nana, keeping that Ragdoll down, even though ELMIMO just cleansed up that stun. Just like that, it's back down. Gianna not looking healthy at all, looking to get removed from the field very soon. But that bomb does not land on top of the Riley, trying to cycle as much damage onto that Ragdoll as much as possible.
Yeah, but again, we have the Riley that's going to be providing so much healing. That's why I thought it was going to be the ban, because it does so much, and that's a massive proc there.
Just like that, we had Ragdoll almost being removed from the field to at full health. We had Molly able to take down the Gianna, taking that only orb sitting on top of Nana right now. And we can see this Tessarian probably applying the Oblivion back onto the Molly.
Yeah, and really surprised that he did not use the Tessa to attack the Ragdoll there and do a lot of damage there. Not sure if that was intentional, because Zafarius could have had a chance to down the Ragdoll and go up 4 units to 3, but instead he might be losing his Gianna here.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to be losing to Gianna here. He's not able to take any of the units down from ELMIMO. So much sustain for him. Looking for any Despair Sins he can get his hands onto. Nothing comes through here. Here comes a possible Oblivion. Oblivion gets resisted. I believe that is Torrent range. No additional turn coming out here. Miles with the additional turn, taking the Ragdoll out, though.
Massive additional turn from the Miles. If he did not get that, this would be game over, because you're looking at 4 units of 3 with lots of survivability. But at this point here, this Achroma is doing a lot of damage. I think ZEFA's going to need to be able to do a lot of damage with this Miles, get a couple more procs, and take out this Achroma.
Yep, we're going to see Tessarian still trying to get the Oblivion on top of the Molly, not getting it here. ELMIMO is going to hammer away at this Miles. He does not want to see this unit on the field anymore.
Yeah, Nana does have that orb though, so all ZEFA needs is a couple of procs here, and he's going to be in good shape. That Chroma taking a lot of damage from that Miles.
Oh, resisted once again. That is 2 times Molly able to resist that Oblivion to keep its passive up here. You can see ELMIMO still trying to hammer away at this Miles, and that's his main focus right now.
Yeah, and he does take away the orb from the Nana, but again, if ZEFA does not get a proc here, he might lose that Miles next and put him, he might lose that Miles and ELMIMO might go up 3 units to 2.
See if he uses that second skill. No, still continuing with the first skill. And once again, for a 3rd time, another resist of the Oblivion onto the Molly.
Big resistor, and that's a lot of healing coming off that Molly, and preemptively giving the shield to Chroma because he knows that's his win condition here, is to keep this Chroma alive.
Ooh, there's the attack buff. Destroys that Miles. We've got the defense break, and once again, the Oblivion is resisted. Not able to take that Molly out here. ZEFA not getting anything to go his way right now.
Not able to land any of those Oblivions. Absolutely massive misses here. Now ELMIMO just pumps out so much damage with the Chroma. So unfortunately, I don't think ZEFA's going to be in a position to be able to do enough bursts to be able to win the game.
Yeah, definitely not. There's just so much value on top of this Molly, able to stay alive here. There's the kill onto the Nana, and there you have it, ELMIMO taking round 2 away from ZEFA.
Wow, we're looking at a very commanding lead from ELMIMO there. That match could have gone either way. All ZEFA needed was a proc from a Tessarian. I'm very interested to know why he decided to go after the Molly with the Tessarian earlier instead of attacking a defense broken Ragdoll. We've seen that Ragdoll be a little bit squishy actually, and I think his units might have followed after. I think that was Zephyrius' chance to be able to take that unit down and probably the game, so I'm not sure why he decided to go after that Molly. And that might have been the game decision, the game-changing move there.
It definitely could have been. I mean, we've talked about this in many SWCs before. Like, if you have the ability to move a unit from the field, you have to take those opportunities. Especially when you have that Nana. Get those orbs up as soon as possible and try to generate as many orbs as you can. And once ELMIMO did lose the Ragdoll, it slowed him down a ton, but he had the sustain to keep himself into that match. Chroma just kept pumping out the damage.
Yeah, and again, that damage was enabled by that Riley. That Riley giving attack buff enabled that so much damage coming across. There was no defense break coming from ELMIMO's side here, but he was able to just damage units and take them off the field just with attack buff. So that Riley just basically allowed his team to survive, which is why I thought it would have been the ban in the previous game.
Well, there's that pre-bans from the very first game. We've got Gianna and Ragdoll getting pre-banned once again, getting into this round 3 between ELMIMO and ZEFA. ELMIMO with the first pick, possibly taking a unit away from ZEFA or going with that Nana once again.
Yeah, he's just going to go with his typical strat of turn 2. The Nana makes a lot of sense. That was ZEFA's first pick when he was able to take it too. Nana's just so strong in this matchup where you're going Bruiser versus Bruiser. You see the Mosh and the Miles. I really like that take from the ZEFA to take that Miles away. Such a good unit from ELMIMO if he's able to get it. So really like these 2 picks from ZEFA's side. I think ELMIMO, we might be looking at some sort of a Riley Wind Monkey or a Chroma or some sort of turn 2 surviving comp that he's always laid down.
Yep, there's that Wusa once again. We saw it from ELMIMO before, and again, you called it, that Wind Monkey King making another appearance for ELMIMO.
Yeah, that Wind Monkey King just such a good unit into the Miles, and it's a decent unit into a Masha if you have enough support and the ability to protect it, and you have enough minus fire. So ELMIMO with a good draft here, and ZEFA taking down the Cadiz as I thought he should be abusing the Cadiz. When we have LD units, we need to abuse them, and he's laying down that Cadiz. I'm going to be very interested to see if it's banned or if it's going to be allow him to win the match.
Ooh, Leo coming back. This is the unit that was pre-banned last time that ZEFA did not want to see. Leo makes a return, and we have Abelio being drafted by ELMIMO, wrapping up his draft.
Wow. I really like these 2 picks here because Leo makes it very difficult for ZEFA to do any damage. That's almost a force ban, but when you have an Abelio there, Abelio is going to take a turn instantly when your units get below 70%. So ZEFA's really going to need to either proc to kill or do enough damage to burst through that Abelio. And so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do that. I think Leo has to be the ban here because his units do no damage if there's a Leo on the field. Or at least the Miles is going to do no damage. ELMIMO is definitely keeping the first 2 units on the field, probably taking out Cadiz. I could also see Riley being taken out at this point as well.
Yep, Riley wrapping up ZEFA's draft here. He has the sustain, but so does ELMIMO. Leo's going to be getting the knife here. He gets banned out. Shizuka gets banned out. Both players going with tanky leads here. We're getting into a round 3 between ELMIMO and ZEFA. Can ELMIMO get a 3-0 upset, or can ZEFA win one to hold on?
Yeah, and this match is going to come down to if Zefarius can find his window of opportunity to snipe out a unit. He's going to need to bring a lot of burst in because ELMIMO has a Abuelio, and he also has a Nana as a backdrop in case something gets sniped out.
Yep, there's that defense break. Branding on top of this Wind Monkey King. He doesn't have a way to cleanse any of that negative effects on top of the Wind Monkey King. Looking to show his focus right now, and that focus is the Cadiz.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if he should be hitting the Cadiz there, because that Cadiz is on triple revenge, and that's a lot of damage coming out from that Masha.
Definitely a lot of damage indeed. Able to sustain just a little bit. We do have that second skill going on to the Miles. Does land pretty good on top of the Miles. Miles able to deal a little bit of damage on top of that Wind Monkey King. Riley trying to capitalize off those defense breaks as well. Any despair stunts coming out of this? And we do! We get a defense break despair stun sitting on top of that Miles. Miles isn't going to be able to deal any damage here.
Wow, and this Cadiz doing so much into ELMIMO. This Wind Monkey's on lockdown. ELMIMO does not have a way to take out a unit very easily if this Wind Monkey's not able to land a hit in. So ZEFA's doing a good job of keeping this Wind Monkey down.
Yep, opting not to go for a wild blow there. Doesn't want to have to transform. Not able to take advantage of that defense break sitting on top of the Miles. No despair stun coming out of Nana. We can see Cadiz removing the Wind Monkey King from the field. No more orbs on top of that Nana here. Additional turn's going to be coming out for this Wusa though.
And that's a massive additional turn. Allows him to protect his team. But at the same time, if he's able to get this strip off, which he does, that's a dead Wind Monkey.
That is a dead Wind Monkey indeed. He's able to get the strip. Additional turn, removing the Wind Monkey from the field with the Masha. A lot of sustain here for ZEFA. ZEFA looking to get his victory here against ELMIMO.
Yeah, ZEFA's definitely going to lock this one up here. ELMIMO does not have an answer to the triple revenge Cadiz. ELMIMO has stopped hitting that Cadiz because he realizes it's on triple revenge. But ELMIMO does not have burst. He does not have defense break on his side. And with the Riley sustaining Zefarius, Zefarius is going to look to take this one to 2-1.
There's that two-turn sleep trying to give ELMIMO a little room to breathe here, branding effect. And the additional turn coming out of this Cadiz.
Yeah, the additional turn coming out from Cadiz, so it's actually a violent revenge build, so very interesting that he was able to get those revenge procs earlier, so definitely a very good unit on those runes there. But again, Zefarius, just so much control coming out from this Cadiz.
Yeah, let's see if he gets that stun onto the Cadiz. Does land it here. Cleanse is going to be coming out here. ZEFA is going to be on full-on assault on top of the not Nana, choosing to go for the Wusa instead.
Yeah, he's just basically balancing the HPs and finding a window of opportunity to, again, Zefarius has complete control of this match here. He has a lot of sustain. ELMIMO does not have enough burst to take this. It's going to be really hard for ELMIMO to come back.
It really is. He needs to gain as many violent procs as possible for ELMIMO to hold on in this match here. Any despair stuns coming out. Once again, despair stunning that Miles. And we've got Cadiz trying to take advantage of that branding effect on top of the Nana.
Yeah, and this is his window. There is defense break on the Cadiz, so we might see, there we go. There's a proc from the Riley, which is absolutely massive and closes that window of opportunity.
Smartest Riley ever, able to cleanse the stun on top of the Miles as well, giving him that opportunity to remove that Nana from the field. ZEFA definitely having this match under control.
Definitely does. When the Riley procs on command like that, it is one of the best units in the game, able to keep up the entire team, and there's no answer to this Cadiz. This Cadiz is having its way, and that's going to secure the victory for ZEFA.
Yeah, most definitely. You can see ZEFA's trying to pummel him that damage on top of the Abuelio. Abuelio being the only unit to help get sustained from his team. You're going to see a dropped Miles, though, not able to revive that unit back here. And we've got Branding still on top of that Wusa as well.
Yeah, dropped Miles there, but again, no defense break means there's no window of opportunity. ELMIMO, even if he got double procs on both units, might not have that window because ZEFA has great runes and very tanky units here. Don't think any of his units are going to be dying at this point.
Yeah, definitely not. He's going to use that second skill, potentially go for the third skill to really get the shields and immunity up here. Does go with the second skill onto that Cadiz. Additional turn is going to be coming out there. He's going to do his wish of immortality, getting that shield and immunity up to help protect his team.
Yeah, but again, he's not going to be able to get through this Cadiz and the Riley backup. I mean, that's a lot of damage. Even if he proc there, I don't think he'd be able to take this one down. So ELMIMO should learn from the previous SWC contestants and know that there is a quit button at the bottom left. You do have 2 more matches left. This match is over.
Well, you can see ELMIMO's trying his darnest to get rid of this Cadiz. He's trying to pummel in all that damage as possible. And he's stunned here. Stun does come through. No cleanse is going to be coming out from ZEFA unless he gets the additional turn. No additional turn is going to be coming out here. Big second skill, removing the Abuelio from the field. Now to work on the Wusa. That is definitely it for ELMIMO here.
Definitely it here. Wusa's not going to be able to do enough. And there we go. ZEFA's going to be able to take this to 1-2.
That's right, ZEFA held on, getting his match like he needed to, and we're going into a Game 4 between ZEFA and ELMIMO.
Yeah, I really like the dominance shown by that Cadiz there. Just lots of attack bar control. The healing from its passive is not trivial. There's a lot of healing coming out from that, and that Miles doing quite a bit of damage. ELMIMO just not having a great answer, and that Wind Monkey was locked down the entire time.
Definitely, and I think that's going to be the pre-ban going into this next match. Cadiz should be getting pre-banned for sure. So much value out of that single revenge set on Cadiz.
Yeah, we're going to see a first pick Nana from ZEFA, and we're likely going to see a Riley Ragdoll coming out from ELMIMO as we saw in the second match. I think those are the logical picks here. The two are content to bruise it out against each other. So it's going to come down to ZEFA and ELMIMO's rune quality to see which one is going to be able to snipe out a unit of the others first.
Well, exactly, that's what's happening here. Nana, Riley, Ragdoll, just as you said, being drafted by ZEFA and ELMIMO. Let's see if there's going to be a slide here. Do they change up the draft to try and throw one other off? We do see a CR, and the CR gets taken back just like that.
I think a Miles would be great from ZEFA because a Miles does a lot of damage here, but he goes with a Nikki, which we haven't seen before, and a Moore, which are two very interesting picks, but I'm not sure about them given the fact that there's a Ragdoll on the field, and Ragdoll's really good in these two units.
Ragdoll's very good into these two units here. Now, we've seen Nikki from last year. Nikki applying a ton of additional damage out of that third skill, but ELMIMO's not going to care too much about it. He's going to lock in a Chroma and Juno.
Yeah, and as mentioned earlier, I know we haven't seen that Juno yet, but that's one of the best rune Junos in the world. It does so much damage and it hurts, so we might see that banned out here. A Chroma and Ragdoll, of course, have dyssynergies when the passive of a Chroma prevents the passive of Ragdolls from going off, but again, it's just two very good units here. ZEFA needs to bring 2 units of aggression if he wants to be able to win. Goes with a light Dominic.
Is that a Benedict? I believe it is a Benedict. We actually see a Benedict in SWC. I think this is a first that we're seeing at a ZEFA, bringing Benedict to the field with that Gianna as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen this unit much in the ladder. That's a very interesting pick by Zafarias. A lot of damage can come out from a Benedict. So he's definitely brought a lot of damage and a lot of control. I'm not sure about the Gianna pick in this matchup because Gianna doesn't provide a ton of damage and is a little weak into the Ragdoll. And ZEFA's really banking on clearing out a unit with this Benedict.
There's a Darien last pick coming out of ELMIMO, and I'm at a loss for words. We've got a wild match ahead of us here.
I am so surprised here, but when he takes out the Nana, that makes sense. ELMIMO's thinking one of his units may go down, but he's going to be able to win the long game here. So it's going to come down to the tankiness of ELMIMO's team, and if he's able to do much more beyond turn 1.
Well, let's see what these players got in store. There's almost no will runes for this Gianna here. Bomb does land on top of the Ragdoll. This is an exciting one, guys, as we get into round 4 between ZEFA and ELMIMO.
Incredibly exciting one, and actually a very unlucky proc from Zafarias there, giving ELMIMO a lot of attack bar off the bat.
Yep, definitely. Ooh, a little additional turn coming out of this Nikki here. We could see that third skill, and we're going to pump in some serious damage. What kind of numbers are we going to see coming out of this Nikki? That was not too shabby.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's actually a very big proc there, but that's a very squishy Benedict here. So if that Benedict does not die, it's going to do a ton of damage.
Well, let's see what kind of damage is going to be happening here with this Darien left on the field. We can see a first skill going out. His unit of focus is going to be the Benedict. Benedict, show us why you're drafted here.
Benedict's going to do a ton of damage with its skills and attack buff here, but surprisingly not as much as I would expect here, and that Benedict might go down. It's taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, Benedict does get stunned up here. We've got Ragdoll is probably going to get removed from the field with all those bombs laying on top of him. The Chroma able to keep the team alive with all these missed crits here. Big cleanse coming out of Nikki. Benedict still alive to do a little bit more chaos.
Yeah, big cleanse coming out from Nikki. ZEFA's got a lot of HP to work with. Only has 2 units to kill here, so ELMIMO really needs to do a lot of damage and get some despair stuns.
Whoa! Benedict bringing it through. ZEFA taking round 4 away from ELMIMO. Holy cow.
Wow, what a match. So Benedict has a 100% win rate in SWC, so we know it's an incredibly powerful unit here. Might need to be revisited, but I really like the show from that unit. That Nikki proc was absolutely a massive. Allowed his team to get that attack buff. And also early on, we saw that Darien missed a defense break, which is why that Ragdoll was unable to snipe it off the bat. So it could have gone either way, but you know, I just love seeing new units at Benedict. It was awesome to see.
Yep, that is a triple S tier Benedict in SWC. That's all anybody needs to know. We're going to see a lot more Benedict from here on.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a 100% win rate like that, it's hard to deny that it's a very good unit. And of course, Gianna did some work there. And unfortunately, there's just Juno not able to land any Despair Stuns, and that Ragdoll was not able to land enough damage.
Well, the pre-bans from last time, Cadiz and Leo, are now available. Just like the previous matches, we've seen Gianna and Ragdoll in the pre-ban, and they are back once again in this Game 5 between ELMIMO and ZEFA.
Yeah, so ELMIMO here is going to have to face the Cadiz here. So he's going to lay the Nana first as expected. ZEFA's likely going to go with Masha Miles later and support his team with the Cadiz. So ELMIMO's going to need to prepare for that. ZEFA could preempt this by taking some different units as well to see how ELMIMO responds.
Oh, there's that Nana first pick, followed up by the Cadiz and Shizuka being drafted by ZEFA. Very quickly drafted by ELMIMO. We've got Riley. We've got a Chroma being drafted once again.
Yeah, interesting laydown of the Cadiz so early. I'm not sure about that. I thought he would take the Miles first, and then at the same time also surprised the Miles not taken from ELMIMO in this matchup here. I'm curious about the Bolvark pick here. It's great into Riley, and the Juno, of course, a great unit into a Chroma.
Yep, the Bolvark pick and the Juno for ZEFA. The response from ELMIMO, double light units in the form of Jaeger and Molly.
Yeah, ZEFA here looks a little damage light. That Bolvark is going to be able to get half the HP from a unit off the bat, but ZEFA doesn't have enough burst at the moment. So I could see something like a Mo Long ban the Nana or some sort of way to do damage. He's going to need to find a way to do a lot of damage over time because his team's looking a little light into all that sustain that's on ELMIMO's team.
Definitely. He's going to be bringing the Mash. I don't know if that was the unit of damage to bring here, but Nana's going to get the ban here. Double HP leads. We're looking at another long one coming out of ELMIMO and ZEFA.
Definitely looking at a long one, and we're going to again see that ZEFA is going to need to take a proc to find his window of opportunity to kill a unit of ELMIMO's.
There's that first skill. ELMIMO looking to tag at the Masha first, looking for that dismount as soon as possible. Nice little take there with Bolvark getting the additional turn up to 4 stacks.
Yeah, and at this point here, ZEFA's going straight for the Jaeger. Is going to hope to get a proc on this Masha. If he can get a proc on that Masha and down the Jaeger, he's going to win the game. If not, we're going to see this go out for a very long time.
Ooh, look at the defense break does land on top of the Jaeger, almost removing that unit from the field. Shield's going to be coming up here. Looking at a silence potentially going out here on... Oh, nope, just looking for the damage onto the Masha.
Yeah, and I really do like how tanky that Masha is. It is very tanky compared to most of the ones that you see on the ladder, and that's why it's very difficult to dismount that unit.
Yep, he's really trying to dismount that Masha as soon as possible. We've got Bolvark looking to probably take that shield away to get some value here. Does not get that take.
Yeah, and ZEFA's next window of opportunity is going to be able to be getting buffs onto that Bolvark and then using that Bolvark to sap HP away from the Jaeger to get a proc and kill it. But that window looks like it's really tough to attain.
Yeah, it's definitely getting smaller and smaller now that the Masha has been dismounted. Defense break sitting on top of that Jaeger, trying to take advantage of that unit right now.
Yeah, and there's attack buffs going on ELMIMO's side, so that's a lot. But at the same time, we have a full stack Bolvark coming up, so as long as ZEFA can get a proc, do enough damage, he might be able to take out this Jaeger here.
Yep, is able to get a little bit of value here. Jaeger's looking a little bit low. Masha might be the one to take it out unless Molly's got something to say about it.
Actually, ZEFA looks to be in a good spot. That Masha's going to take out Jaeger. Jaeger goes down here, and ZEFA's up 4 units to 3.
Yep, definitely 4 units, 3 for sure. A lot of sustain still left on ELMIMO's side of the field. You're going to see a big first skill going out onto the Masha. Masha's still alive, though. Taking advantage. Defense break sitting on top of Riley. Drops the Riley!
Wow, and Riley goes down. ZEFA's able to crack the defense of ELMIMO here. ELMIMO is not going to be able to come back here. Does not have enough burst on his team. ZEFA just being able to do so much damage and take the upper hand.
Big damage coming out of Masha, trying to drop this Molly from the field. Looks like Juno's going to be the unit there. ZEFA really putting a statement here, taking round 5 and being the winner here, moving on to America's Cup.